How should you price your product? It is one of the most critical decisions that we as entrepreneurs make. The answer is far from obvious. If we get pricing right, we don't just make more money, we can turn our product into a disruptive force that reshapes an entire industry. I recently interviewed Jean-Manuel Itzeret, or JMI. He leads the global pricing practice at BCG. That's one of the largest, most respected strategy consulting firms in the world. Look, pricing is literally his entire job. There is probably no one who's thought more deeply about pricing strategy than he has. You can listen to the full conversation, but let me share the two most important takeaways. Number one, most people get pricing wrong. Most entrepreneurs, we think that pricing is actually about being higher or lower price, but that misses the real point. Pricing is not just about capturing value, it has psychological and strategic power. At a minimum, if you're setting prices in that way, there are three basic questions that we all need to be able to answer. What does it cost to produce your product or service? How are your competitors pricing? And what value do customers get when they actually buy? If you can't answer those, you risk losing money because you're pricing below your cost, losing customers because you're pricing too high relative to the alternatives, or leaving money on the table because we underestimate the value that we actually deliver. But those are just the three basics. Takeaway number two is these three pricing strategic questions that we all should be answering. This is what JMI says really matters. Who pays? On what basis they pay? And when do they pay? If you find a unique answer to even one of these, you can remove yourself from competition. If you can do all three, you can transform the industry. What does this look like in the real world? Well, who pays? Look at Apple. Apple decided that instead of users paying to access apps, developers would pay to distribute them through the App Store. Today, the App Store is estimated to be approaching $100 billion in annual revenue, roughly 25% of Apple's total revenue. On what basis do they pay? Salesforce revolutionized the entire software industry by shifting the pricing model. Instead of charging per installation, they charge per seat, effectively creating software as a service and reshaping the industry. When do they pay? People are always willing to pay more at the moment they get the value. This is why investment bankers make so much money. They get paid only when the client collects hundreds of millions of dollars in the IPO. It's also why I'll pay 50 cents for a bottle of water at a grocery store before I'm thirsty, but then I'll pay $5 for the same bottle in a hot stadium. Netflix is a great proof point. Take Netflix. Who pays? Instead of advertisers paying for content, Netflix said, we're going to have users pay directly. On the basis of what they pay, instead of charging per rental like Blockbuster did, Netflix charged per month. When do they pay? Instead of feeling the pain of paying every time you watch a movie and you return it to Blockbuster and you realize you have late fees, what Netflix did is they charge your credit card automatically each month and people barely noticed. Those weren't pricing tweaks, they were strategic decisions. So don't be lazy with pricing. Don't just accept the model that your industry hands you. Even an average product, an average team, an average brand, you can still disrupt the market if you find a unique answer to those three questions. Who pays? On what basis do they pay? And when do they pay?